This is one of those stories where every time you think it can't get worse, it does. Because what started as a single jewelry complaint has now turned into arrests, handcuffs, hospital visits, alleged scam accusations, and a lawsuit that could completely wipe out a decades-old Diamond District business. And the reason this story is blowing up everywhere is simple. There's video, there's police involvement, and there's footage of the Akay Diamonds owner being walked away in handcuffs after a violent confrontation with TraxNYC. No rumors, no sources say, actual footage. So today, I'm breaking down the entire situation from start to finish. How this began with a bracelet, how it escalated into a public confrontation, how it turned violent, why the arrest is a massive deal legally, and why it's now extremely likely TraxNYC will sue and potentially win because of what happened. Stay to the end, because once you see how many mistakes were made back to back, you'll understand why this situation spiraled out of control so fast. Now let's rewind, because none of this started with a fight. It started with trust. The Diamond District operates on reputation. That's the unspoken rule. You don't just sell jewelry, you sell credibility. People aren't just buying gold and diamonds. They're buying confidence that what they're paying for is exactly what they're getting. That's why names matter so much down there. And that's exactly why this situation is so explosive. According to TraxNYC, a customer came forward believing he had purchased a TraxNYC piece. Not a similar design, not inspired by. He believed it was directly tied to TraxNYC. He was allegedly shown TraxNYC branding, images, and claims about materials. The bracelet was sold as 14-karat gold at a premium price, over $20,000. At that point, from the customer's perspective, everything checks out. But later, doubts start creeping in. The bracelet is tested, and when Trax himself tests it on camera, the results don't line up with what was advertised. The gold purity allegedly comes back significantly lower than 14 karat. That's not a small error. That's not subjective. That's a major discrepancy. And this is the exact moment where the situation becomes dangerous. Because from Trax's perspective, this isn't just a bad transaction. It's his brand being used in a way that could permanently damage his reputation. People aren't mad at Akay Diamonds. They think TraxNYC ripped them off. That's the nightmare scenario for any luxury brand. And instead of deflecting responsibility, Trax does something that instantly changes the public narrative. He refunds the customer out of his own pocket. $22,000, full amount, plus extra. Let that sink in. He didn't sell the bracelet. He didn't profit from it, and he still paid. That's not a small gesture, that's a statement. But it also sets the stage for what comes next. Because after making the customer whole, Trax makes it clear he's not letting this go. He publicly says he's going to confront Akay Diamonds directly. And this is where the story crosses the point of no return. The Diamond District has rules. You don't bring cameras into disputes. You don't make accusations publicly. You don't embarrass another jeweler in front of customers. Those rules exist for a reason, because once they're broken, chaos follows. Trax enters the Diamond District with cameras rolling and goes straight to the Akay Diamonds booth. From the very first second, the energy is tense. Voices are raised immediately. Accusations fly. Trax is claiming they used his name, misrepresented jewelry, and damaged his brand. Akay Diamonds pushes back, hard. People start gathering around the booth. You can see phones coming out. The space feels tight, claustrophobic. Everyone can tell this is about to go sideways. And then it does. During the confrontation, one of the Akay Diamonds owners spits directly in Trax's face. That moment changes everything, because spitting isn't business. It isn't debate. It isn't even disrespect. It's escalation. It's the moment where logic leaves the conversation entirely. From there, the situation explodes. Shoving turns into punches. People rush in. Security tries to separate everyone. Other jewelers are yelling. The Diamond District, a place built on quiet deals and private negotiations, turns into absolute chaos. And this is where things stop being internet drama and start becoming a criminal matter. Police arrive on the scene. This isn't a warning. This isn't everyone calm down. Officers intervene and 2 Akay Diamonds owners are arrested on the spot, handcuffed, escorted out in front of witnesses. And yes, there is video footage showing them being walked away by police. That footage alone is devastating. Because once you're arrested in a public place, especially on assault-related charges, the entire conversation changes. Prosecutors get involved, reports get filed, witness statements are taken, medical records are reviewed. Meanwhile, TraxNYC is transported to the hospital. He later posts videos showing marks on his neck, claiming he was choked with his own chain. He looks shaken, angry, fired up. He's asking lawyers to reach out. He's saying he can't let this slide. And now, the internet has everything it needs. Video of the confrontation, video of the arrests, hospital claims, public accusations. At this point, the fallout becomes unavoidable. Now let's talk about why the arrest matters so much. People online love to say, charges won't stick, or it'll blow over. That's not how this works. Once someone is arrested, prosecutors review the evidence. And in this case, there's a lot of it. Video footage, witnesses, police presence, medical claims. That makes it extremely likely charges will move forward rather than quietly disappear. And here's where it gets worse for Akay Diamonds. Even if criminal charges somehow get reduced or dismissed later, the civil consequences don't go away. Civil lawsuits operate on a completely different standard. TraxNYC doesn't need a conviction to sue. He needs evidence of harm, and there's plenty of that. There's alleged physical harm, there's alleged reputational damage, there's financial loss he can point to, and there's public footage tying it all together. From a legal standpoint, this is exactly the kind of case that turns into a massive civil lawsuit, and TraxNYC has already indicated he plans to pursue legal action. That's why people saying, this is just a fight, are missing the bigger picture. This isn't about punches, it's about consequences. Now, let's address the scamming allegations carefully. At this moment, no fraud conviction has been announced. The claims involve alleged misrepresentation of gold purity and alleged misuse of TraxNYC's branding. Akay Diamonds has denied wrongdoing. Those claims will be decided in court, not online. But here's the reality. When allegations like that are paired with a public assault arrest, the damage multiplies. Even if the business side were somehow cleared later, the reputational damage is already catastrophic. And that's exactly what happened next. After the incident went viral, Akay Diamonds reportedly faced intense backlash. Customers started questioning past purchases. Reviews resurfaced. People began asking if they should test their own jewelry. Foot traffic slowed. Business relationships froze. At the same time, legal costs began stacking. Lawyers aren't cheap. Court cases take time. Every day spent dealing with fallout is a day not making money. This is how businesses actually collapse. Not overnight, but under relentless pressure. Meanwhile, TraxNYC's image moves in the opposite direction. From the public's perspective, Trax defended a customer who wasn't even his. He put his own money on the line. He confronted the issue directly, and he walked away without being arrested. Whether you agree with his approach or not, optics matter. And right now, the optics heavily favor TraxNYC. This is why it's now very likely that Akay Diamonds will face not just criminal consequences, but civil ones too. Lawsuits tied to assault, lawsuits tied to alleged brand damage, potential claims from other customers. This isn't just one case, it's a chain reaction. And that's what makes this story so insane. A single confrontation, one moment of disrespect, one viral clip, and suddenly everything is on the line. So the real question becomes this. Was this inevitable once the allegations surfaced? Did ego and emotion completely override strategy? And did one bad decision permanently end a business that took decades to build? Because right now, that's exactly what it looks like. Let's keep going and push this into the final act, because there's a side of this story that most people still aren't fully clocking, and it's the part that explains why this arrest could permanently follow Akay Diamonds, even if time passes and headlines fade. Because arrests don't just disappear, reputation doesn't reset, and the Diamond District never forgets. Here's what a lot of people miss when they watch the fight clips and move on. In luxury industries, especially jewelry, perception is reality. You can be legally cleared later and still be finished socially and commercially. Once customers start associating your name with chaos, violence, and alleged misconduct, the damage is baked in. It's not about guilt at that point. It's about risk, and wealthy buyers hate risk. That's why this arrest matters far beyond the moment it happened. Once those cuffs went on, Akay Diamonds stopped being that booth on 47th Street and became the jeweler who got arrested after a viral brawl. That label sticks. It follows you into Google searches, YouTube recommendations, TikTok clips, Reddit threads. Every new customer will see it. Every business partner will Google it. Every insurer, supplier, and lender will flag it. And that's where the slow collapse begins. Even if Akay Diamonds wanted to rebuild quietly, that becomes almost impossible. Customers don't want to walk into a shop where police were recently involved. They don't want to negotiate prices where fights broke out. They don't want to trust tens of thousands of dollars to someone whose name is now tied to assault charges. And that's before we even talk about the internal pressure. Imagine trying to run a business while dealing with criminal lawyers, civil attorneys, court dates, paperwork, stress, and non-stop online scrutiny. That's not a functional operating environment. That's survival mode. This is why people close to situations like this often say the legal process is only half the punishment. The other half is the psychological and financial drain that never lets up. This story isn't over. Court dates are coming, lawsuits are likely, more details will surface. And depending on how this plays out legally, the consequences could get even worse. But one thing is already clear. The arrest was real, the footage exists, and the fallout is permanent. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was TraxNYC right to confront this publicly? Or should this have been handled behind closed doors? And do you think Akay Diamonds can ever recover from this? Or is this truly the end? If you made it this far, I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to LoafTube for future celebrity videos and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.